How many of you have experienced anxiety? I want you to think about this for a moment. What is anxiety? What is it? I want those of you who experience anxiety to think about this. Where do you experience anxiety in the body? In the stomach? The chest? The head? Neck? What are the sensations in the body? How do the sensations feel? How are you breathing when you experience anxiety? Is there tension? Anxiety is a negative emotion and sensation in the body. Anxiety is fear. It can very much be tied to experiences, and yet, when in the present moment and no particular experience is happening, it can also be very much tied to our own mind's thoughts and images. I'm sure you can agree that everyone has experienced fear at one time or another. It's a biological experience. Fear is ancient. It is primal. It is a part of our biological evolution, our very survival mechanism. There for a tremendously important reason: to keep us alive. It is how many of our ancestors survived. And you are the culmination of all of your ancestors. So it is why you are here today. So let's just, for a moment, take something in here. You are a survivor down to your very DNA. Some of our ancestors survived by fighting, and some survived through running away. This is called the fight-flight mechanism. And when it is triggered, we are wired to prepare, to either fight or run. Have you ever felt stuck in an experience or circumstance in life? Have you ever felt stuck for an extended or long amount of time? If you have ever felt stuck, you felt you could not fight or run. This is what causes us to move into a sort of stagnation, like depression. Depression is a sense of powerlessness, a state of non-movement, whereas fight-flight is doing its best to move us out of danger, to bring us to a higher level, to do something about it, to change it. And here is where it gets a little interesting. We have a creative thinking mind. And although it can feel like our downfall when it is thinking all kinds of ideas and visions of what could go wrong or all the things we have to do, it is actually our biggest gift, our greatest ally, our friend. The creative mind can be very creative. It can think through all kinds of puzzles, obstacles. It can create the most amazing works of art and the most genius and innovative ideas. In fact, when feeling anxiousness, this thinking part of the mind is scanning your external reality for anything that could possibly be a negative outcome. It is scanning your external reality for anything that reminds it of a negative experience or memory, or anything that could be perceived as a threat to the system. And when it perceives a danger, it sends off alarm bells. These alarms are the thoughts and emotions we feel. And like a loud bell going off, getting louder and louder, that part of the mind is meant to keep us alive. It is doing its best to get our attention. And so, it is our attention we must give it to understand what it is you are truly afraid of. You must look at it. Pretending it's not there will not make it go away. If you are afraid you will be attacked by a vicious tiger, it serves you to know how you would protect yourself from this tiger, does it not? How you would get away from it or fight it. To choose not to look at the fear will only cause a sense of powerlessness to it. It can, in fact, cause a snowball effect. So give yourself permission and allow yourself to find the tools and solutions that are available to you. In fact, if you do this, you will gain more courage. Because in life, fear is something that exists. And more courage is its only cure. If you are experiencing anxiety, discernment is a useful tool that can be learned through viewing fears. Discernment to determine the difference between what is truly dangerous and what is not. Discernment to determine if that uncomfortable feeling in the body is being triggered by actual danger or by things that are not so dangerous and have become associated to the feeling. Our mind is constantly creating associations to objects, people, places, thoughts, and images. And it associates feelings to these things. When we feel stress, our body releases cortisol. And when we have a positive outcome, the brain releases feel-good chemicals. When we feel fear, and yet no negative outcome occurs, our brain associates holding fear to having a positive outcome. The brain thinks, I had fear, and so nothing bad happened. This is a normal function. But what the brain thinks isn't always the truth. In fact, if we have already done what we need to be safe, or are in a situation where we have no control over the outcome, we no longer need to hold the fear. We do, actually, have the ability to consciously choose our state of being. We can learn how to self-regulate and to be able to shift from one state to another. We can learn that we have the ability, the capability to move from pain towards pleasure, to take ownership of our internal experience. When we learn to do this, it creates a type of internal security. It allows us to step out of powerlessness and into empowerment. It creates self-trust, and that gives us confidence. There is a process to this learning. At first, we hear the information, we hear it again, and then we sort of know the information. We sort of know it, and we begin to understand it. And then we begin to experience it until it becomes our experience. There is a process of changing from one dominant state of being to another. It may be that we feel anxious or depressed all the time, and for a moment we feel something else, a moment of peace. And that moment turns into an hour, and then a day, to a week, to a month, to a year. And now instead we experience depressed or anxious for a month, to a week, to a day, for an hour, for a moment. The process can be quick, it can happen overnight, or it can be something that is worked with over time. This depends on each individual system to determine how much can be processed at once. We choose to do this when we are ready. When we are ready, we attain the tools. And when we attain the tools, we are ready.